Well, we'll start the Pledge of Allegiance if everyone would stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Tonight I'm here to introduce a friend of mine. She's an integrative health practitioner and an author, as well as a former school teacher. Most health providers focus on your symptoms. Krista focuses on you and your story and what your body needs. So the root of your problem is what she's here to help people solve. I became aware, Krista, a few months ago when a friend of mine had gotten her DNA testing done. So Lois and myself have gotten our DNA testing done, and we're waiting for Krista to get the booklet so then we can review all the information on our DNA, because we want to be as healthy as we can for as long as we're here on Earth, and I'm going to try what I can do in life to stay healthy and active, and I'm hoping with Krista's help I can do the same. So introduce. Thank you, Krista.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Gary's going to do a prayer. We're kind of mixed up tonight, but
thank you, Paul. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit, amen. Our Heavenly Father, we first thank you for the many blessings that you have given to each of us. We also thank you for our freedom that you have given us the ability to gather this evening. And we pray for the protection of all those that lead us, and pray that they will do your will and not their will. That our leaders will follow our Constitution, our laws as our founders intended. And we ask you, Lord, that all wars will end, and that you will assist those that have been victims of war and crimes against them. We pray also for our speaker tonight, that she may enlighten us with the information that benefit our health, and that we will pass this information on to others. We ask, Lord, that you will assist the Deloys with their plight in the fight for justice, and you will surround them with great legal counsel. We also pray for all those that are sick and in need of your assistance, Lord. And last, we pray for our thanks for all those who facilitate this meeting and make it possible. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
That was a much better introduction. I like the prayer better. My presentation tonight is called The 10 Barriers That May Be Affecting Your Health. Like Krista said, I am Krista Story, so it's kind of fun to have the same name. So my story started, and actually I have written a book with my story in it. But my story started with the loss of my son, July 13th, 1999. And from his, when I lost him, a lot of health issues started after that. And so I kind of began a journey of trying to figure out how I could help myself after that, along with grief and everything else. So with the loss of my son, I started a thyroid disease. I lost him because of my thyroid. So that was brought on a whole bunch of health struggles. And then I got Hashimoto's thyroid disease, where that's when it's an autoimmune thyroid disease. And then I got Lyme disease, and then Epstein-Barr virus. And all along the way, I found out, too, that I had pathogens and toxin overload. So throughout my journey, I started with more conventional type medicine, doctors that would just tell me that I was just a mom that was tired, right? So go home and get some sleep, right? Or give you a pill or whatever, and I just didn't, want to do drugs or, just masking the symptoms. So that's when, on my discovery, I met a lot of different holistic practitioners and got very interested in just being an advocate for myself and learning how to become the healthiest I could be. So I have been, you can see that at the bottom of my presentation, I was a public school teacher for 33 years. And that's a whole nother presentation with what's going on in public school right now. But about 5 years ago, along my journey, I thought, I want to really share my story, and I want to start helping people. So I went back to school while I was teaching. So I started with the Institute of Integrative Nutrition, and I became a health and wellness coach. And then I did training with Integrative Health Practitioner with Dr. Stephen Cabral. Did his level 1 and level 2. Level 2 being where I can interpret some labs. So I can order labs for people, so you don't always have to get the expensive ones from your doctors, and you can do a lot of labs at home. So I do those. Whoops. We'll wait for it to come back on. Hopefully it will. There we go. And then last summer, I also did quantum nutrition, which, if you've ever heard of like nutritional response testing, that's what that is. It helps me to run my business remotely. So I'll kind of explain quantum nutrition at the end of my presentation. I'm also an emotion code practitioner, which also involves the muscle testing that I'm going to talk to you about with the quantum nutrition. But that helps people with emotional healing. It has helped me with a lot of the grief I had. And then I'm also a Shape Health Restoration certified practitioner. And that's a program I offer people to help get their health back on track. And for a lot of my clients, their need is to lose some weight. So we do that in a healthy, anti-inflammatory way. So those are my certifications. This is my why, so everybody has to have their why, right? This is my 24-year-old son, Connor, and my 29-year-old daughter, Kaylee. And then my fiance, Barry, who is from the Dyersville, or has been in the Dyersville area for over 20 years. So that is my why, to stay healthy and to model health for them so that they choose it as well. So let's dive in. I'm going to give you a quick overview of the 10 barriers that are affecting your health, and then we're going to get more into them. So, uncovering the health barriers: food, immune, whoops, did not mean to click that, sorry, mold and fungus, imbalances, chemicals, radiation, stress, heavy metals, nutrient deficiencies, emotional energy. So we're going to start with food. It's the easiest one. When people come to me, one of the easiest things to start fixing is what you eat and what you put in your body. So sensitivities can happen. A lot of people you probably know can't do gluten anymore, and they wonder why. A lot of our food sensitivities happen as we age, and the microbiome in our gut changes, and that's what makes us more sensitive to everything. So I get a lot of people that have that problem. Gluten, dairy, refined sugars, and other things are very inflammatory, and they can trigger the digestive imbalances. Another thing we look for with food is we're not getting the good vitamins and minerals that we used to get in our food. So our food is pretty deficient. So we're deficient in vitamins. We're especially deficient in minerals. Our soil is just not like it used to be. And so, if you go to the grocery store, I don't know about you, but if you go to the grocery store, you buy a tomato. Does it always taste like a tomato anymore? Kind of tastes like cardboard sometimes. So we're missing a lot of vitamins and minerals. When we get sensitivities to things, we also have malabsorption problems, so we're not absorbing the vitamins and minerals. And when we get pathogen overload, they're also robbing us of our nutrients. So that's a big thing with food. So good food, what to eat. I know you guys had a presentation with the natural grocer man that talked a lot about this too. But the healthy grass-fed protein, organic vegetables and fruit whenever possible, organic grains, whole foods. And then be aware that gluten and dairy can be inflammatory for some people. Some people it's not a problem, but some people it is. I always tell people organic and grass-fed is best if you can do it. So the worst food choices are artificial sweeteners. They do a number on our gut. Food additives, the food dyes, the colors that they're all talking about right now. They all need to go. Sodas, energy drinks. If you've seen a lot of the teenagers and how many energy drinks they have. Sugary drinks, Gatorade, processed food. So if it comes in a box or a bag, it's not a whole food. Fast food, the new fake meat that's out there has a lot of additives, chemicals, all kinds of stuff in it. The seed oils, they're very inflammatory for our bodies. High fructose corn syrup and sugar. Sugar is a huge puts so much inflammation into our body. And it's in so many things. So the next barrier is the immune. So the immune system barriers can be bacteria, Lyme disease, parasites, and I always put, yes, I said parasites, because sometimes when I do presentations, people are a little surprised by that. Viruses. So let's talk about bugs, parasites. So number one, I would like everyone to, we're going to take a parasite test. So everybody find your pulse. Does everybody have a pulse? Then you got parasites. That's my test. How prevalent are they? Sorry, I didn't mean to. It's true. Most everybody has parasites, and we get them everywhere. So, most of the time you hear it from like international travel. Well, definitely you're going to have that problem. But food poisoning can cause it. Public toilets, we've all gone in a public toilet. Schools, daycares, businesses. If you've ever heard of people saying a school is just crazy during the full moon, have you ever talked to a teacher during the full moon? They're going to tell you the kids are wild. Emergency rooms, rest homes. It's because the parasites are all hatching and having parties. And so that creates some behavior issues with children or wildness. And things happen with other people too. So we can get them from breathing the air, like the microscopic ones. Rare meat, sushi is a big one for parasites. We can get them off vegetables and fruit if we're not cleaning them properly. And of course, animals can give it. So if you've ever pet a dog or a cat, you'll get a parasite. I mean, I'm not telling you not to have pets because I love pets, but we have to do things to keep the parasites out of us. So this is Dr. Jason Dean's quote. I trained with he and his wife for my quantum nutrition, and I don't know if anyone follow him, but do you know Dr. Jason Dean? Yes. He's big into talking about parasites. It's estimated that over 80% of Americans are affected by parasites in some way, whether it's through digestive issues, chronic fatigue, or other health concerns. These parasites, often undetected, can lead to a wide range of symptoms, from mild discomfort to more serious health problems as they disrupt the body's systems. So I don't know if you've heard a lot of people taking like ivermectin to try to do that. You do have to be a little bit careful with ivermectin because, and on top of it, they only get a certain type of parasite out. So there are some other products that get rid of all the other ones that I'm talking about as well. So bugs also include Lyme and bacterial. So Lyme mimics many health disorders. It's most likely the cause of many chronic illnesses. They're starting to think like, dementia. There's so many more people with that. It's probably an undiagnosed Lyme disease, things like that. The sources of Lyme now everybody only thinks it comes from a tick, but sources of Lyme can be birds and rodents, bodily fluids, mammals, parasites, ticks, spiders, fleas, and mosquitoes. And then with the ticks, the tiny, tiny little babies that are teeny tiny, you can walk through the grass and not even see them, they can carry Lyme disease as well. And with Lyme disease, everyone, like if you go to the doctor, they'll always say, did you get the bullseye rash? Well, then you probably don't have Lyme, and they might send you home. Or they might put you on antibiotics, which you need, for a couple weeks, but they tend to think that it's gone. And it is not gone, because Lyme can lay dormant in your body and can get reactivated in different times of stress. When you get sick, when I get sick, I can feel my Lyme being reactivated. So just remember that when you go to the doctor, it's not probably going to be over. Dr. Jay Davidson is a leading expert in Lyme disease. He actually started a lot of research because his wife was so sick with Lyme disease, and he started a company called Cellcore just in order to help his wife, help his patients. So here's a quote from Dr. J. He's a leading expert in Lyme disease, has said, it's estimated that 300,000 new cases of Lyme disease are diagnosed each year in the U.S., but what's even more concerning is that the majority of people with Lyme don't get a clear diagnosis from standard blood tests. It rarely shows up on blood tests as positive. In fact, up to 50% of Lyme cases can go undetected because blood work often fails to pick up the bacteria, especially the chronic stages. This highlights the challenge of accurately diagnosing Lyme disease and why many people continue to suffer without proper treatment. Dr. Richard Horowitz also wrote an amazing Lyme disease book, if you're interested. He has pointed out that Lyme disease can mimic or even cause neurological conditions like dementia, like I just talked about, especially when left untreated. In some cases, people with chronic Lyme may be diagnosed with Alzheimer's or other forms of dementia because standard diagnostic tests don't always detect the Lyme bacteria. Viruses, we've all obviously heard of COVID. Epstein-Barr virus is another one that we can get and not really know we have it, and it can also lay dormant in your body and can get reactivated. Herpes, chickenpox, immune deficiency, and then COVID shedding. So if somebody does have COVID or if they have just gotten a COVID shot, they can also shed onto you. So common chronic viruses like the Epstein-Barr virus, it's widespread. About 95% of adults have been affected with EBV, and often without symptoms, so they don't know they're affected until it starts to bother them later on. Reactivation is what I was just talking about. It can reactivate later, especially when your immune system is weakened. So it could be something like chronic fatigue syndrome, multiple sclerosis, and certain cancers because it's been reactivated. Long-haul COVID, I'm sure you've heard about that. Long-haul COVID has lingering symptoms. A lot of people that I know that have had it is more the brain fog, the joint pain, the just overall fatigue. Mainly because the COVID can, cross the blood-brain barrier and it can linger in and still continue to give you chronic inflammation. So it can also lead to things just like EBV does. So those in a situation like that, we need a person that has that needs detoxing to get that to come out of their system. So another big one is mold, mycotoxins, and fungus. This is another big one for me because after going through the Lyme disease and dealing with all of that, as I told you, I was a public school teacher and then got placed in a classroom where I got mold toxicity as well. A lot of schools do have a lot of mold throughout their buildings, but they tend to not want to test for it or cover it up because it's too expensive. That was the case with mine. I ended up paying for the testing for my classroom to find out and discovered it was mold, but no one did anything about it. So where do we get mycotoxins, molds, and fungus? So you can get it from food, luncheon meats, salami, ham, bologna, cheeses, fruit, bread, baked goods, dark beer, whiskey, gin, wine, peanut butter, peanuts, hot dogs, coffee, and leftovers. You can breathe mold, of course, touch mold. Through a weakened immune system, you're much more apt to have it bother you. Digestive issues, intestinal issues, and then inflammation. Mold can also mimic almost any medical condition, and most symptoms are nonspecific. So it's a real tough one because a regular doctor is not going to tell you that you have mold toxicity. So it's a real, you can just keep getting sicker and sicker with it. Another thing that I have, when I've researched mold, is that it tends to make women sicker first, and men don't get as bothered by it for a while. So in the household, the woman might have all the problems, and the man is like, well, why? What's going on? You know, we cleaned up the mold or whatever. But that's the reason why. And a lot of people think that if they fixed a water leak and painted over the mold or whatever, it's gone. But it's not, because the mycotoxins are still there, and they're still making us sick. So mold is a fungus found both outdoors and indoors. And obviously, it can grow in the home or a workplace. That's another place where people obviously can get it, like I said I did. The symptoms can be very vague, like fatigue or gut issues or memory problems, muscle aches, a brain fog type feeling. So it's easy to attribute them to other causes. Furthermore, most people don't always know when they've been exposed. So like, you don't always see it. You don't always smell like a musty smell. You don't always see that. So due to these factors, it goes unrecognized. But it can continue to give you chronic health problems. So how prevalent is mold? So Dr. Krista O'Connor is another person that's a big researcher in mold. She obviously experienced it herself and helps a lot of people now. She emphasizes that mold exposure is widespread, affecting millions of people, with over 50% of the homes in the United States potentially harboring mold. She warns that mold toxicity often masquerades as other diseases like autoimmune diseases, chronic fatigue, fibromyalgia, and even neurological issues. So it can just, mimic anything that you've probably already heard of. So this is another one, big barrier chemicals, and I think you've heard a little bit about that one at the last presentation, but chemicals are all around us. We're bombarded by them every day. Especially, in Iowa, we have all kinds of pesticides, glyphosate, the atrazine, any type of herbicide, pesticide, insecticide, chlorine, it's in our water, fluorides in our water, formaldehyde, Formaldehyde can be in different things or food. Formaldehyde can hide in certain like over-the-counter medications as well. And there's many, many others. So where do they come from? Well, we breathe them in our water, food, cleaning products, nonstick pans, household products, furniture, personal care products, plastics, soil. You'll get them from the dentist. So there's all kinds. We're just bombarded with chemicals all the time. So the common chemicals found in Iowa, I'm not sure if anybody's heard of Dr. Zach Bush before. If you'd like to look him up, he's fabulous. He does a lot of research on glyphosate and what it does to our health. So he actually has gone against a lot of, he's been in Washington, been up against a lot of the companies that have pesticides, trying to get them to reduce them. So glyphosate is the most widely used herbicide in the world, and it is deeply disrupting our microbiome. It's not just a problem for plants, it's causing damage to our human gut bacteria. So it leads to chronic inflammation and autoimmune diseases. And that's why there's just so many more people with autoimmune diseases nowadays. So glyphosate is the active ingredient in Roundup. So it's also been linked to a lot of cancers, gut dysbiosis, and then neurological conditions. Atrazine is another one that's a common pesticide, and it's a powerful endocrine disruptor, meaning it can disrupt your endocrine system. So if you've heard that there's a lot more infertility problems, there's a lot more birth defects, all that. That's caused from endocrine disruptors. Atrazine has even been linked to like reproductive issues, cancers, and developmental disorders, and they've also shown that like frogs that are around it will actually, like a male frog will turn into a female frog. I mean, they've done tests that it really, really disrupts the reproductive systems. So heavy metals is another one. Mercury, lead, arsenic, cadmium, aluminum, nickel, uranium, thallium. Where do we get them from? We get them from pollution. Household products will have them. Processed foods. I don't know if anybody saw that ad about Girl Scout cookies having heavy metals. Water, soil, dental fillings, personal care products. You have to really watch what you put on your skin. Medications will have them, vaccinations, tattoos. So a lot of places we can get heavy metals. Thimerosal, a mercury-based preservative, and aluminum salts are used in many vaccines. So they're using a lot of the vaccines that our little babies are getting. So another barrier to your health is radiation. So that can include cell phones, when people wear the AirPods in their ears, any type of wireless device like laptops, computers, any type of Bluetooth application, video games. It can also obviously include some sun exposure. Airplane flights will give you radiation. X-rays, CT scans, radioactive treatments, hearing aids. A lot of the hearing aids now are Bluetooth off of people's phones, so that's giving them a lot of radiation right there on their brain. So why are we worried about that? Electromagnetic fields, I usually call them EMFs. They come from all those devices. They can actually get into our cell membranes, and they can allow more toxins into our bodies. So EMFs have been shown to help stimulate the formation of biofilms. Biofilms are the protective layers that, like our harmful bacteria and all the toxins and pathogens will build. They create them around themselves. So it makes it harder for our immune system and treatments to clear out, because it's basically like they have a wall around their little party that they're partying in our bodies. As a result, prolonged EMF exposure can exacerbate existing diseases like chronic Lyme disease, autoimmune conditions, and neurological disorders. As these biofilms and toxins accumulate and worsen, then you're going to have more inflammation, and your immune system is going to be more dysfunctional. Okay, so stress is another big one. We all have stress, whether it's physical stress, whether it's pain, emotional stress, chemical stress, lifestyle, and just finding balance with everything going on in our lives. So this is just a few stress management ideas to help with stress. And if you would come to me and we would discover that stress is part of your root cause, we would work on some other things as well with stress. But mindfulness and breath work always helps. Gratitude and reflection, positive mindset. Sometimes that's hard with what goes on in the world, but sensory relaxation, like soft music and things that bring you joy. Self-care, movement and nature. Grounding, getting your bare feet out into the dirt is good to get that grounding in. Sleep, making sure you prioritize sleep and making sure you have boundaries. You tell people no when you don't want to do things. Time management, social connections, and humor, laughing, and creative expression. So those are some stress management ideas. So another barrier is imbalances. So imbalances can occur with your hormones, brain, nervous system, energy production, your genes, misalignments in structure, your neurotransmitters, that kind of goes along with the brain there, environmental, and then vaccines can cause huge imbalances. So emotions. Emotions are another big barrier to our health. We actually process about 400 emotions every day that come through us. So if you process them well, that's healthy, but if they get trapped in your body, they actually can get trapped around your organs and in different places. So trapped emotions are actually energies that become lodged in the body and imbalance the body's delicate functions. Trapped emotions are the largest underlying cause of mental and emotional problems, such as depression, anxiety, self-sabotage, panic attacks, phobias, and more. In addition, these energies distort the normal energy field of the body, so they can create pain, fatigue, and all manners of disease. So if you've ever heard of somebody that has cancer but then has some emotional work done and then find out that the cancer is getting better, or a different type of disease, it's because of those emotions that actually get trapped inside of us. So here's I just have some things that you can start right away for some detox ideas, some strategies you can start. But I first want to talk to you about your body's drainage funnel. So with your body's drainage funnel, this is what you want your body to look like, nice and clear pathways. So it starts with your colon and moves on up. What most of us tend to look like is that these get all congested, and it starts with that colon and builds on up. So you can kind of see the sludge coming out of there. So if you have problems with your colon, that's where you want to start, because you've got to get everything else moving. Our livers get very congested with all of the toxins right now that we're bombarded with to try to get out. If you don't have a gallbladder as well, then your liver is working twice as hard. Lymphatic system, and it moves on up to our organs, tissues, and cells. So one thing you can do for your lymphatic system is dry brushing. I think I brought one. Yeah. So I don't know if anybody here dry brushes. Anybody heard of it? You don't? Okay. So dry brushing is just, they're easy to purchase. I'm pretty sure Natural Grocers has them, but you can get them online. And you just dry brush your skin all over and always move towards your heart. Do that before you shower or take a bath or before you would get into a sauna, because it will stimulate your lymphatic system. And then when you take that hot bath or that hot shower, it will get things moving. So an easy one thing to do. Oh, and if you do this, does anybody have a sauna in here? Okay, if you do this before your sauna, you will sweat 3 times as much. So I highly, highly recommend it before the sauna. Epsom salt baths, we probably all heard about that, but they're actually very important. So if you can incorporate that at least once a week into your routine, using pure Epsom salts, they can really flush out some toxins. Plus, they just help to relax you, relieve stress. But they're a great thing for improving your circulation and getting some of those toxins to move. Castor oil packs. Has anybody heard of those? Okay. So you can definitely order these online, or I know Natural Grocers also sells the packs. These are fabulous for liver detox when you put the pack and the castor oil on your liver. They're also great if anybody has any digestive issues, or for young girls who have cramping, pelvic pain, anything like that. It also helps. They also make one for your thyroid, so you can detox things out of your thyroid. They also make one for your eyes as well, so you can detox out of there. You can put it all on and go to bed and detox all night long. Detoxing produce is one thing I tell people to always make sure you do. If you can't always get somewhere where there is organic, make sure that you either have a produce spray or you make one, so that you're trying to get as much of the pesticides off as you can. So this one is 1 cup water, 1 cup vinegar, a tablespoon baking soda, and then if you want to, you can add some essential oil to it. Okay, so another thing that we need to work on is detoxing our mind as well, because we get bombarded with negative thoughts, or I don't know about you, but if you've been around somebody that is negative, you tend to absorb what they're like or whatever. You might not want to be around them. So this is just a vibrational scale, and if you've ever heard anybody say that, oh, the vibration in this room is really bad, or bad vibrations, good vibrations. So when you're raising your vibrations, this is where you want to be, way up here. And when you're letting yourself be more in the negative part, this is where you'll kind of stay. So just kind of something to look at. Just remember, gratitude changes everything. It truly does. It's the most easy thing to do for your brain, your mind. What I tell all my clients to do as homework is every morning and before bed, write 5 things down that they're grateful for, and always one thing that they love, either a person or anything, even if it's your warm coffee cup. Doesn't matter. Something that you love. So whatever you focus on grows. So when you choose to think in gratitude rather than dwell on what's lacking or going wrong, you start to see more of the good around you. That shift in perspective doesn't just change how you feel, it changes what you attract. So focusing on the good puts you in alignment with more positivity, opportunities, and peace. It's not about ignoring reality, because we all know there's reality, but it's about choosing to give more energy to what uplifts and empowers you. So in thinking in terms of, let's just say your arm hurts or you have a stomach ache and all day long that's all you think about, your stomach ache may get worse just because that's kind of what you're attracting. So putting your energy where it uplifts and empowers you is much better. So gratitude is like a magnet for more things to be grateful for. So just some books too. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about my book tonight, but The Rain Barrel Effect, I actually have it over there too. Dr. Stephen Cabral wrote that. It's a super easy read, but has a lot of really good stuff about the toxins and detoxing. He is who I trained with for some of my certifications. Not sure if anybody's heard of The Truth About Cancer or the Bollingers. Wonderful book, and they have a lot of amazing information out there. The Vagus Nerve Healing Bible is a really great book because a lot of us have our nervous system affected. You know, when you watch the news or you're at work and everything's stressed out, whatever, our vagus nerve gets imbalanced. So this is a great book to try to get your vagus nerve and your body nervous system relaxing again and balanced. It's very, very important. So these detoxing tips are just the beginning. I just want to now tell you about my services and kind of what I do. So what's really behind your symptoms? So my services, I did talk to you that I was a quantum nutritional response testing practitioner. Most of the time with nutritional response testing, people will come to you in person. If you've ever had an experience with muscle testing, they'll do it in person with one of your arms or, laying down. My business is more remote. So I work on identifying the root cause of your symptoms. I offer you personalized nutrition plans, non-invasive procedures, and preventative care to tackle your imbalances. My approach empowers individuals to take control of their health and overcome ineffective treatments that they might have right now. I also do supplement testing to see exactly what your body needs. So here's how it works. I mentioned muscle testing. Is anybody familiar with muscle testing? I know you are. Okay. We were talking earlier that it's kind of hard to explain to people, but muscle testing and organ connection, I use kinesiology, and I was going to say the way I explain it to people is, do we know how this works? I have my best friend in Australia. I could take a picture of all you right now, send it to her. Is she going to get it really fast? Yeah, she'll have it. She might be in bed, but she'll have that picture right away, right? Why is it that she'll get that picture? Through frequency, right? Yep. So we're 99.9% energy, and so every word I'm saying tonight, everything we do is frequency. So that is how I work with my quantum nutrition. So I work with a lot of different charts, and I use intention, and then I also use prayer. And for some reason, it's amazing, but it works. And people usually are saying, how did you know that about me? So it's crazy, but it works. The cool thing about quantum nutrition is that learning that since we're all energy, we're all connected. So I use root cause charts. I identify underlying causes of symptoms, and I focus on the root issues, not just your symptoms. I want to know your whole story. I use focused intention, and I harness the power of consciousness to influence the body's energetic state. Another program I think I mentioned earlier is the Shape Health Restoration Program. And this is just a program that works with whole foods, anti-inflammatory food plan. It helps to decrease your inflammation. It strengthens your immune and detoxes and cleanses and helps people release some weight. A lot of my clients also have gotten off a lot of meds or decreased their meds. I have had some diabetic clients too that have really decreased what they were taking for that. So it just is an overall helps your body kind of program. So emotion code, I explained before that I'm a motion code practitioner. So I use the kinesiology in the same way to help your body release emotions. And usually most of my clients, I can release probably 200, sometimes 300 per session. A lot of my clients, after a few sessions, notice a complete difference, a lot more peacefulness, and just the ability to process new emotions better that come at us. So this is a chart I use, and out of that chart, those are the 60 most the emotions that we are bombarded with every day. So that's why that chart was made that way. So another thing I offer, this is an in-person at my home. My office is out of my home. So it's an ionic foot detox. Has anybody ever done one of those? Okay, all right. So this is an ion cleanse foot detox. And it involves putting your feet in some nice warm water. Has an array that generates ions through a low-level electric current, so it's very safe. These ions attract and neutralize toxins, which are then drawn out through your feet. But the best part about it is you'll detox that day, but then you'll continue to pull out toxins for 3 more days. So it's a great, basically 4-day detox on that. Its benefits are detoxification, obviously. A lot of people experience increased energy, immune function gets more enhanced, reducing inflammation. I have a client from where I used to live that has reduced so much of her pain. She was a fibromyalgia client, and she's just a different person from using it. Improved mental clarity, better sleep, and stress relief. So another thing I offer people at my house, and usually they do this while they're doing the foot detox. Brain tap is kind of like detoxing the brain. So they sit and relax with a foot detox and have this. So the brain tap, and I actually brought it if anybody wants to see it, is a really amazing headset. It has all kinds of programs to listen to, but what it helps you with is basically balancing your neurotransmitters, helping you with that nervous system, getting it more balanced. It puts you in, if you've ever seen people that can meditate for long periods of time, or if you've heard about monks that have been able to meditate like all day long or whatever, this is kind of a cheater system because you get the same benefits as that person that's meditating all day long with just a 20-minute session with this. So it's pretty amazing for your brain. I do, like Krista said, I do reveal my DNA testing. So basically you just get the test and you do the test at your house with a swab. And let's get a show. And then we send it in, and then once it comes back in, you'll get this huge book all about your genes, and then we'll go over everything in there. It's a great thing that can show you preventative care, show you what your body goes through, what your body needs, just a lot of things. So you're welcome to look at mine. I brought that if anybody wants to see what that looks like. And this is my latest thing. It's called a chi coil. So it's really all about frequency as well. I have discovered it's a portable PEMF device. So it uses electromagnetic waves, but in a safe way. So not in a a way where you're just using ear pods or something in your ear. It's basically, it looks like this. I have it. I can get it out. And you run different programs. It has Rife. Has anybody ever heard of Rife frequencies? Okay, so it has 10,000 Rife frequencies that you can play. So you can work on, so if you had, let's say, cholesterol problems or diabetes problems, you can run programs for that. The testimonies on it were amazing. I've had mine for 2 weeks. So I can talk a little bit about it, but I can't wait to see what it does. So it also has like meditation programs. What I've noticed so far with me is I am sleeping like a zombie. Like I am in the deepest sleep I've ever been in. So that's what I've noticed so far. I've been running different programs, and so we'll see what else happens. But this I want to incorporate. If anybody comes to my house for a foot detox, then you can run a Rife frequency program as well to help with whatever's going on with your body. So this is my book. I actually wrote this book with my good friend Heather, who's amazing at helping people with emotional healing. So it's 2 stories in one. So it has my story and my health journey, and then it also has her story and her health journey. So you get 2 for 1. So I do have that book if anybody's interested. And then I think you've already seen, that's my website's kristastory.com. That's my email, my phone number. And does anybody have any questions? I just want to thank you guys for letting me come out tonight and speak to you. Anybody have questions? Yeah.
Do you have one pill that would just take care of it?
You know what I'm hoping for? I'm really hoping that this chi coil does it.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. The research I've done on this chi coil is amazing. So, like I said, I'm 2 weeks into it, but anything I get into, I have to read, research, podcast, what it's done for people is amazing. So, I'm hoping.
I've been reading a lot lately about cancer as stemming from a parasite.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the way? Is that the truth?
Oh, definitely, it could be. Yeah, I mean, and cancer can be like basically any of the things I just talked about can be why cancer starts, and any type of inflammation. And then just always remember that sugar feeds it. So sugar feeds your cancer. Mhm. Mhm.
When you do your detoxes, do you do that? We've been told that it should be in a copper container. Do you do yours in a copper container?
For my foot detox, I have a special unit that,
Okay.
yeah.
Is it plastic or what is
It is plastic, but it's from the Major Difference, so because of the way their rays work, it works in the plastic. Okay. Yeah. But like if you were going to be doing Epsom salt, like a foot detox, then I would totally recommend not using plastic ever, using stainless steel or. Mhm.
Do you believe in the germ theory?
Not really.
I don't either.
No. You guys said you follow Jason Dean, right? So you know. That, remember the masks and the. Oh, yeah. Right.
I've been to nutritional response testing, which she does. And that's how I found out I had Lyme's disease, and I'm controlling it with a product she mentioned, Cellcore, which is an excellent line. It's a new line, very powerful line, and also been treated by parasites through the Cellcore program that she has as well too. So I can testify that nutritional response testing does work, and I would highly recommend it to anybody that's having a problem that you're getting treated with a regular MD. So she can't say that, but I can.
I actually started, we talked earlier, and I started Cellcore products with his daughter's friend. So, and I did parasite, probably 3 years of that. So,
3 years of parasite testing?
oh, cleansing, yeah. Yeah, because of the Lyme disease and everything. The other thing I was going to mention, I think I forgot, EMFs, our radiation, our cell phones, all that, increase like parasite activity. Sugar, processed foods, that's what parasites love to eat. So take note of how your body feels during the full moon, because if you're craving sugar during a full moon, that's because the parasites want it. So that's what they love to eat. It breaks my heart when I've been at school to see what snacks are served, what the school lunch looks like, because what they're feeding children is inflammation, number one, and then it's feeding whatever's going on in their body as well. So, when they say you are what you eat, it's true, right? So. I know. My mom died of heart disease, and what they brought her, I thought, what? Or my dad is diabetic. These are reasons why I don't want to end up that way. They don't tell him anything about his diet. You don't know anything about that. You can eat whatever you want. They tell him as he eats donuts and everything, So, no, Dad. So. The one thing I was also going to mention that I forgot is the cheek oil that I just told you that I've had for 2 weeks. Has anybody ever heard of the med beds? Yes. That they talk about? This is the same thing as a med bed. Yeah. So they actually make bigger ones. I have the mini one, and they make bigger ones where you can actually put it right under your bed and it becomes a med bed. So I always was following the med beds a lot during COVID, and if you heard about a lot of that. So I thought, well, this might be amazing for all of that. So just an interesting thing about it. So anybody's welcome to see any of this stuff. I brought, again, my DNA thing there. These are I just put some supplements in that some of the brands I do carry. But if I work with you, I would always test to see what your body needs. That's the worst part about going to Natural Grocers. Has wonderful supplements, certain places do, but it's like mesmerizing, overwhelming. You're like, well, what do I really need? What does my body need? And so that's why quantum nutrition works, because I test to see what your body's asking for. So, any other questions?
Yes. Have you ever used the med beds, the Tesla Med Bed Center in East Dubuque?
I have not. I just saw that. We went out for supper one night, and I thought, wow.
It looks kind of deserted because I'm never up there till later at night. But I just was wondering if anybody first is aware of it, and second has ever been there. I know you can buy the coils to put under your bed also.
I was curious to know if they were using the same thing or
I
not.
know they're kind of pricey. I don't know what the ones you use are.
The mini that I have is very reasonable. So.
And then grounding sheets for the bed, do you know, are those a real thing or?
So it depends on the company. You always got to, there's a lot of scams out there. There is, I think his name is Clint help me. I always forget his last name. But he has the grounding website, and his stuff is good. He has a documentary out about grounding. So that would be the place I would go. You can, everybody looks on Amazon and buys it, but you can't trust things. So any type of thing I have, I research like crazy. So, yeah. I think some red light therapy is very good for you. Again, you have to make sure you get a good one, you know, because again, they're making really cheap ones, you know, and that's not going to help you. Yeah. Ober, just Clint Ober. Okay, Clint Ober. Yeah, he has a good documentary out about grounding. Yeah.
What are these med beds?
MedBeds is using similar to Rife frequencies. Have you ever heard of the Rife frequency?
Spell that.
RIFE.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, so it's a big bed you would lay on, would have all of those. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've got one.
Okay.
Does it work?
You want to tell the story about Royal Rife and what happened? Or do you know the story?
Why don't you tell it?
Well, and I don't know the whole story exactly, but Royal Rife came out with these frequencies years and years and years ago. And it worked. And I believe he sold everything to the Mayo Clinic. And that was the last you heard of it.
Yes, and so then
Because there's no money in cures.
Right, and that's why it's been hidden. But out of the Chi coil, there is Rife family members that are working for the Chi coil.
They're still alive. They haven't been knocked off.
No. No. True. But yeah, the guy that designed Chi coil, he designed it for himself because he had a bleeding ulcer. He had just constant digestive issues. Started playing with frequencies, and it healed him. And he had gone to engineering school. He was a musician, so sound and all of that worked out. And then he has since hired people from the Rife family, generations down or whatever. So
I have a question. 5G, is that good for you?
no. You need protection for it. We can't get away from it, right? Unless I don't know where you're going to go. But as long as you're using protection, I have protection on my phone. When I'm at work, my office, I have protection in my office. Being aware of things that are good to protect you from it. The Chi coil, that's another thing, is that it's balancing your energies so that the EMFs, the bad EMFs, aren't affecting you. So another reason that I thought that was a neat thing to buy.
One thing we've done, we don't have Wi-Fi in our home. We just use our hotspots for our internet.
Mm-hmm.
So when we don't use the internet, we shut off our hotspots and put it on airplane mode at night, so we have no EMF in our home at night or when we're not using it. So
yes, and I always tell people, there's so many people that have it right by their bed. I have a friend that sleeps with it under her pillow. And I'm like, what are you doing? Well, I want to know where my phone is. No, I mean, if it's beside you, then have it in airplane mode. So, and the earbuds that kids wear, I don't know what is going to happen to their brains because it's right there. I mean,
Are the ones with wires okay? The headphones?
yeah, much better. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Any questions back here? David?
What happens with the DNA? Is that information shared with anyone outside your office? Does the government or anything?
No.
Fourth Amendment, that's what I'm curious about.
No, that's why I went with this company. Actually, I'll show you. You'll see my name is in writing, right? So the only thing when I send this in, you are a barcode. That is it. I don't give them any information about you. It's just a barcode that I register. So it is completely safe and private. It is not like 23andMe who will sell your information and some other ones I wouldn't trust. They would be out there. But this one, that's the only reason I went with this company.
So it's not under the thumb of the Big Brother government?
No, No. It's totally through my wellness rep who would get along with all of you guys really well. Yes.
How do you do the muscle testing virtually?
So that is through energy, frequency. I have all kinds of charts. I have an intention to help you. So I always have the person's picture. I've talked to the person. Usually I have a good phone session with the person for an hour, getting their story, prayer, lots of prayer. And I go through lots of charts. The client always gives me at least 5 things going on with their body as well. So I go in and check on all of that and see what's going on. So I know it's really hard to understand, but I use a muscle testing. So basically, if you were in person, your arm would lock for a yes, go down, right? I'm going to hold this here. So I use it through here. So when I'm asking questions, this would be my no, this is my yes, it locks. So if I say right now, my name is Krista, it's locking. But if I say my name is George, it goes right through. And now it's not a magic trick. I'm not just doing that. That's that's what it does. If you guys want to try it, would you guys like a little demonstration? Well, let's have you all stand up. And I want you to close your eyes so that you're not like, oh, looking at everybody else. You know, we don't want that, like the kids in school do. And then I want you to start saying your name in your head over and over again. And I want you to notice if you feel your body move. Don't be holding on to a chair right now so you can feel your body move. Just keep saying your name over and over again. Did anyone move forward? You feel your body move a little bit forward. Okay, that would be your yes. Sometimes there's a rare person that'll move sideways. Now I want you to say a random name. That is not your name, like George, or I don't know, maybe there's a George here, sorry. Just somebody else's, not your name. See if your body moves a different way. Anybody move backwards? Okay, that's your no. Now I want you to think of something or somebody or something that you truly love. I want you to really, really visualize them, and think about giving them a great big hug and see where your body is going. I'm seeing a lot of people going forward. I like seeing people think about who they love. Now I want you to think about Joe Biden. Anything that you don't like. Where's your body move?
Dr. Bruce?
Are you feeling backwards? Okay. So that's your no. All right? So that's a muscle testing. That's frequency. Okay? Well, I'm not sure what you probably have to learn what I do. You'd have to learn it this way. But if you're sitting down and you're doing it the way I just did it with your fingers, it would work.
But I'm going back and forth here, doing what you're telling me to do.
Oh, well then you do. That's all I wanted to show you is that you have a yes and a no. I wouldn't.
What's that, or if it's peripheral neuropathy is what I'm asking you.
Oh.
That's what's caused me to do that.
I'm not sure. Okay.
Get out of here with that mic.
Dr. Bruce, think of Paul Kurt in the negative.
That'll get me moving.
Krista, do you have cards that you can pass out?
Yes. Oh, and I also, if anybody's interested, I do have a $30 off coupon for initial consultation. So you're all welcome to that. And then if anybody wants my business card, I do have business cards. And then I do, if anybody wants to put their email down, I am going to start a newsletter so that it'll have updates and information like Maybe it'll have information on parasites or something like that. If you'd like to subscribe, that I'm going to be working on that in the next few weeks, so that'll get started. So if anybody wants to put their email down, you can certainly do that and become a part of that. In my initial consultation, I can't talk anymore, is usually $140, but that includes a lot of time spent with you. So a couple appointments, a lot of time.
We've met a couple times. What have you got?
So the DNA testing is more expensive, of course, because it's a big test, and I have it on special. It's $490. Yep. And that includes the printed book, and then an appointment with me to go over with it.
And then how about the vital or your nutrition, or find out what supplements you would need to take?
So that would be in that whole.
And then
Yep.
part of that too,
Mhm.
400.
Yep.
If you want to do vitamin testing.
That would be in that initial consultation price, not the DNA price. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, so you would, in with that, the 140, you would be part of
The supplements would be a part of that. Yeah. Yes. Yep. Oh, got some left. Thanks. And then if anybody is interested in a book, you can let me know too. So.
Got a question?
Anybody want to see my DNA?
David.